Welcome back to the Heal and Restore podcast with your host, me, of course, Randy. I don't think that'll ever change. Well,
Not
maybe.
unless you change your name.
I could change my name, right? And of course, the hostess with the most. This is my beautiful wife, Cathy Boyd.
Welcome, everyone.
Yeah, welcome. Welcome to this
Yeah.
episode. Kind of going to be an interesting one today. A fun one, kind of.
Yeah, kind of just a reflective one.
A reflective
I think, for
one.
us.
That's what it's going to
Yeah.
be. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Remember, our heart is to help individuals and couples grow stronger through healing, honest conversations, and meaningful connection. Each week, we talk about real-life topics like communication, forgiveness, intimacy, family, and emotional health. Because healthy relationships begin with healed hearts.
Yep, absolutely.
Thanks for tuning in as we take another step together towards restoring what matters most.
Yeah.
Our most important relationships.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So grandparenting can be grandparenting can be incredibly rewarding, but it can also come with challenges, especially when family dynamics, distance, and changing generations are involved.
Yeah, that's so true.
It does become challenging. It
Yeah.
can. We're
Yeah.
fortunate. We're
Yeah.
very fortunate.
We are. So today we're going to explore how grandparents, like ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
can build meaningful relationships with their grandchildren and also leave a legacy that lasts far beyond the material gifts. And so this episode today is called Grandparenting, leaving a legacy, not just memories.
Yeah.
Not just memories. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the unique role of a grandparent. We'll kind of start there.
Completely different than mom and dad.
Yeah, exactly. And for those of you that might be listening, if you're a grandparent, great, take it all in. If you're not a grandparent yet, take it all in.
Take it all in.
If you don't think you'll ever be a grandparent, take it all in because you'll be around somebody's grandkids at some point in your life. And so, and then share this, obviously. We'd love to have others, benefit from it.
Yeah, and even though you might not have, your own grandkids, we found out that in some way, shape, or form, you're going to be grandparents to somebody's child.
You're going to play that role.
You're going to play that role.
Yeah,
yes,
definitely.
Exactly.
I mean, I'll just, as an example, our life group, most of the people in our life group are younger than us.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them, but most of them. And they all have young children.
Yep.
Either our grandkids' ages or younger. And so we find ourselves almost becoming surrogate grandparents to those kids as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So what we want to remember, though, is grandparents, they occupy such a special place in a child's life. I know for myself, my grandparents were, they were super special.
Yeah, some of my grandparents were on my dad's side, yes.
Yeah, so, you're not the parent, which means your relationship can be built on encouragement, wisdom, because we got those gray hairs, so we have that wisdom.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah.
For reminding me.
Well, I got them myself. And then the presence without carrying all the daily responsibilities. I mean, there's certain responsibilities as a grandparent, but it's not every day's responsibilities that we have to carry as grandparents.
We get the pleasure of having them and seeing the best of them.
Yep.
And then giving them back to mom and dad.
Yeah.
And, well, they're not like that for us.
No, they're not. That's okay.
So, research consistently shows that children benefit from having caring adults outside of their parents who provide support and stability. Grandparents often become those trusted voices. And I will say this, if it wasn't for my grandparents on my dad's side, I probably would not be here.
Yeah.
They were the light of my life. They're the ones that gave me that little bit of hope.
That voice of reason.
That voice of reason, trust, understanding.
Yeah,
right?
That's good.
So, here's a few discussion questions you might want to write down. What kind of grandparent do you want to be remembered as? That's a good question.
Yeah,
what kind of grandparent do you want to be remembered as? Right? What values do you hope your grandchildren carry into adulthood? So
I love that question. I was just thinking because our values as parents shifted when we became grandparents.
Yes.
I mean, we thought we had great values, and I think we had very good values as parents, but as grandparents, it's interesting how I feel like our values shifted because that next generation needs so much more than our children's generation.
Well, did they shift or did they just to become more aware of a deeper depth
Ooh,
of the
that's
value.
good. Yeah,
You know?
it might be just the deeper awareness.
The deeper awareness of them.
That's really good.
We want our grandkids to have those same values as mom and dad, and we support mom and dad. Fortunately, we have a really good family.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And then, so what values do you hope your grandchildren carry into adulthood? And this is a really important one.
Mm-hmm.
What stories from your life are worth passing on?
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, your grandparent, I'm sure you have plenty of stories you can tell your grandkids. And my grandfather and my grandmother both did, because they grew up in the Depression times, you know, when they didn't have nothing. So my grandfather was always full of good stories.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, such good memories hearing the stories.
So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to share those. Keep them child appropriate, of course.
Age appropriate.
Age appropriate, of course. But those are going to be important things. It's going to teach the grandchildren a little bit about what life was like when we were growing up.
The history lesson.
It's like
the
a
family history lesson.
right?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So now I want to talk a little bit about presence over presents.
PRESENCE over PRESENTS.
Yes, exactly. Right. Many grandparents worry they don't have enough money to spoil their grandchildren.
Hello, that's me.
Yeah, that's Cathy. Right, she spoils those kids rotten. But it's okay. The truth is, kids may enjoy gifts, but what they remember most is time.
I can definitely absolutely attest to that.
100%.
Yeah, my grandparents didn't have a ton of money, but they had memories they gave me.
You know, we're the same way. We don't have a ton of money, but we love our grandchildren to death, and we give them lots of good memories.
Yeah. So some of the memories, which is the time that is necessary, we can remember as fishing trips, baking cookies. Maybe there were sleepovers that were involved. I had plenty of those. Conversations and feeling seen and loved. And sleepovers just popped out to me when I said that word, because I can remember my grandma and grandpa had a very nice dining room area, but they would always let us make a tent out of the dining room table and chairs. And that's where sometimes we would spend the night. We'd sleep over and sleep under the tent.
The other thing then this recently happened to Cathy and I. Sometimes there's a point where they're not going to listen to mom and dad, right? And we have one of our granddaughters very competitive, and my son came up to me and goes, "I need you guys to help with me and help with Hopi. She struggles a little bit."
Yeah.
So that's a beautiful thing to have happen when your children trust you enough to say, "Hey, Dad, can you help me with this? Mom, can you help me with this?"
Yeah, because you're creating connection on an emotional level.
Exactly.
Emotional level. So there's so many ideas we can use to create connection with our grandchildren. One of them might be creating special traditions. And I had special traditions with my grandpa. Every time we went over to Grandma and Grandpa's for supper, I sat to the right of my grandpa, and the rolls always sat right in front of me. So that was a tradition. Here I am, almost 64 years old, and I still remember that. Another thing that you can do is schedule one-on-one time with each grandchild. And I love that too. And we do try to do that. It's not always as easy, but we do that every now and then with the grandchildren. Sharing family stories and history, which we've talked about, is also another valuable opportunity for memory. And write letters for milestones that they can read later. And I'm thinking about that. That is a great idea. It's something that I haven't really thought about.
Right, I haven't thought about that one either.
Yeah, I think that would be a great opportunity that they'll have a memory when we're long gone that they can look back at. And one thing that I think is super valuable is to celebrate effort and character, not just their achievements. And I think that's like when we have those one-on-one conversations where they struggle, we're celebrating their effort, we're celebrating their character, reminding them of who they are, not that they have to win or not that they have to pitch every strike or they have to hit every ball. Just bring them back to the integrity of the character that they have.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, point out the good things that you see in them. They don't need necessarily to hear about the bad things.
No, they need to be built up.
They need to be built up, right? I mean, the bad things are there, and we want to remind them that's not who you are,
right?
right? So there's ways that you go about that.
And that creates that emotional connection with them that's so
Right,
important.
right.
And here's a key thought in all of this is children spell love Time.
Yes.
Time. All they want is time. And that, whether you're a parent and your children or you're a grandparent with your grandchildren, all they want is time. Time.
Yeah. Time, it could be time sitting down playing. Well, my grandson the other day, we were over there and he brought over his battleship game, right?
That's right.
Because, come on, Papa, play with me. I said, okay. We sat down and played. Even though they might get distracted in the game, you just bring them back and you have fun.
Yeah, creating that
they'll
time.
never forget that.
Yeah. Yeah, and this next topic we want to dive into is a little more challenging, especially as we as grandparents grow older and grow with a little more wisdom, and that's navigating boundaries with your adult children.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it can be challenging. So that's one of the biggest challenges that grandparents can face is respecting the parenting choices of their adult children.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
We might not always agree with them, with our children are raising their children,
Yeah.
right? But that doesn't give us the right to interfere and scold the parents, right?
No, absolutely.
So even when you disagree, maintaining
Yeah.
trust with your adult children
That's really
often
good.
creates more opportunities to stay connected with your grandchildren.
Yeah, you're building that bridge, that gap that needs to be held strongly.
One of the big things with grandparents, I'm going to just say it, is sometimes don't give them a lot of sugar. Grandparents are famous for giving grandkids lots of sugar.
Yeah.
I've
been guilty of that.
I think that's just the reality.
That's
of
just a simple one,
so
but that's a common one.
It's a very common one that happens a lot.
Yeah.
So here's some healthy practices, right? Support before advising. Right? I was always told this. Nobody's asked you to feed into their life, and you don't have a right to feed into their life. You don't have a right to give them advice. Now, as grandchildren, we do have a right to give them some advice,
right? Because
we're helping them grow.
But
right?
they're adult parents.
But they're adult parents, right? If they ask for advice, absolutely, But give that advice based off of your experiences, your losses and your wins. So you're just it's what it was like, what happened, what it's like now. Is kind of what you want.
But you want to ask permission.
You got to ask permission before offering parenting suggestions.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, son, can I give you some suggestions and some input that help mom and I raise you? Something like that. And they say, no, Dad, I got it. It's okay, fine.
Yeah, right. I do that quite often with, I'll ask my daughter, have you thought about?
Yeah, absolutely.
That type of thing. Not that I'm telling her what she has to do, but have you thought about it? I said, and I always, sometimes our adult kids are so far advanced in parenting than what we were. So I'll say, I'm sure you've thought about this, but maybe you haven't thought about this, but maybe you have. Have you thought about X, Y, Z? And always she has already thought about it. She's far ahead of me.
So
yeah.
Respect the family rules and routines.
Yeah.
It's very important, very important.
Yeah.
And then focus on relationship over being right.
Yeah.
Right. Don't be a right fighter with your grandchildren. Right?
With your adult children.
Or grandchildren or your adult children. It's not about being right. Right. It's about that relationship. And sometimes if they do ask for advice, we give it to them. They might not do anything at that moment, but generally what will happen if they're open-minded, maybe a month, maybe more down the road, something will happen and they'll reflect back on that moment.
Right.
I remember when mom or dad told me about this, and this is probably the better thing to do.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
And then discussion. How do grandparents stay involved without becoming intrusive?
Well, I can tell for myself, there are times when I don't always agree with what my son, my daughter-in-law, my son-in-law, my daughter are doing with their kids, but I kind of just sit back and let them parent, because sometimes I don't always have to agree with it. I just have to allow them to parent. No. And then I'm not becoming intrusive. I'm not interfering with their decisions. And so it's hard sometimes. I think I have a better suggestion, but I have to be able just to sit back and allow them to parent. I didn't have parents telling me what to do.
I did.
Well, as raising your children?
No, not
No,
raising,
that's
not
what I'm
raising.
saying.
No, no,
Raising
no.
my
Right,
children, I
right.
did not have anybody
No,
doing that. So
no,
why am I going
no,
to put my foot where it doesn't
no.
belong?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's, when we look at our kids, the way they are with the children, I think they're doing great. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
and so does Cathy. We both believe they're
Yeah,
doing good,
absolutely.
right? And certainly there are things, but we have to remember we raised them good, right?
Yes.
We gave them good values, even though we went through some rough times.
Mm-hmm.
When we came out of that, they saw how hard, so they saw our values
Mm-hmm.
that we had in family.
Right.
And so they're passing that on. And like I've had discussions with you before, and I'll bring it back to my parenting days, or my child days, right? Well, what can you learn? What can I learn from abusive parents? How not to raise my kids,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So our children often are watching us in more ways than we think they are.
Yeah.
And they're figuring out, I don't think I want to do that anymore. I want to do that to my kids, so on and so forth. And so, yeah.
I think this question on how do grandparents stay involved without becoming intrusive. It's about building trust.
Absolutely.
It's about building a
Yes.
relationship with your adult children
Yes.
and your daughter-in-law, son-in-law, whatever the case might
Absolutely.
be. And a perfect example of that trust, we had a situation come up on Friday where our daughter-in-law had a medical emergency.
Yes.
And she immediately called us to come help.
Yeah.
And so you took her to the hospital. I sat with the kids. And had we not built trust up by not being intrusive, she probably would have called a friend or somebody else to help.
Yeah.
So I think the best way to do that is to keep building trust, stay connected, build trust, build love, show respect for their parenting.
Exactly.
As well.
She did call our son first,
yeah.
But he was in a meeting and couldn't answer the phone. So immediately she called us, and we were there. They're a half hour away from us, and we were there as quick as we could get there.
Yeah.
Right? And it was great.
I think building that trust is so important to avoid the intrusiveness of the relationship.
Right.
So, there's also another component to this, and that's the spiritual and emotional legacy that we can instill in our grandchildren.
That's very important.
Yeah.
Right. One of the greatest gifts grandparents can offer is wisdom gained through experience.
Yeah.
Gained through experience.
Yeah.
That's the most important.
Yeah. If you've ever lived in hardship or through hardship, maybe disappointment, recovery, which we have done, a faith journey perhaps, or maybe loss and even wins, triumphs. All those lessons are so important, and they're so important to share with our kids. And those are just those are things that we have to do to be able to leave a legacy for our grandkids.
Well, and with our kids, they saw us go through every one of those things.
Exactly.
Every bit of that, everything that's listed right there.
Yeah.
The recovery, the faith journey, disappointment, hardships, loss, and triumph. And that triumph, they don't look at the disappointment anymore.
No.
They look at the triumph.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good. So there's a bunch of different ways that we as grandparents can leave legacies for our grandchildren. And one of those is what we're talking about, just sharing the stories of resilience. Yes. Our kids, I don't know if all of them, our grandkids, I should say, our grandkids, I don't know if all of them understand the full story of resilience of what you've been through.
No.
But I know the older ones definitely do. The older two girls for sure do. And, we don't just like dump these on these kids at any given moment. It's age appropriate. So that's something that we're proud of, is being able to share the stories of resilience of the things that we've gone through and the things that you've gone through.
I've had hard stories with my son about relationships, and shared my experience with his mom, and it's really helped him.
Yeah, it's helped them too. And then the other thing that's important that we can leave a legacy is praying for your grandchildren regularly. That's something that they may not see it always, but if you pray for it, they're going to know it. And talk openly about prayer. I don't think there's anything to hide in that at all. And then what we want to do is also leave a legacy where we can model forgiveness and humility. And that is something that's so important, is not only modeling it, but teaching it as well. And then talk openly about your faith and your values. And I've noticed that our grandkids with our daughter, they have been in church, so they understand the faith walk and the values. And our son and daughter-in-law and their kids have also been exposed and experienced it. So it is kind of a cool thing to be able to continue in that in our journey and be able to share our faith and our values with them.
Well, I remember certain incidents when one of my granddaughters came up to me. We were talking about something else. She goes, Papa, she goes, I think you can help me with this. The girls on the team say I'm not Christian.
Yeah.
And she was devastated over that. So I was able to comfort her through that and walk her through that and tell her, you're okay. And I just gave her some good guidance, and she was fine.
But she just needed that.
She knew who to come to.
Yeah.
That was an important thing.
Yeah. And the other thing I think that's important is to let your grandchildren see how you handle life's challenges.
Yes.
We don't want to, there are certain things that you protect them from.
Yes.
But we don't need to hide them from life's challenges because they need to see what it's like to work through it and overcome those challenges. The
important part is how we overcome it.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. So I have this quote I'd like to share. And what it says is it's your legacy isn't what you leave your grandchildren. It's what you leave in them. So your legacy isn't what you leave to your grandchildren. It's what you leave in them.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. So interesting enough, grandchildren, when I picture grandchildren, I picture young little ones, babies, toddlers, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old.
Yeah.
But guess what? Those 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds grow up. And so there's grandparenting through different seasons. And right now we're in a season where we have grandchildren from the age of 16 down to the age of 6.
Right.
And let me tell you, there is a difference.
Big difference.
There's a difference in those ages right now.
Right.
So every stage is going to look different as a grandparent.
Right.
You might have young children. So what are some things you do with the younger children? You play, read, go outside in nature, create memories. That's something that I think we've always enjoyed doing. And the other thing that's important with your young children is remember to be consistent.
Yes.
Be consistent and be dependable.
And your word, if you tell your children you're going to do something, you do it.
Yeah. Right? Because they're building trust in this.
Absolutely.
They're learning what trust is.
Yeah.
So now if you have teen grandchildren, which we've got a couple of those and one's on her way there, we want to listen more than we lecture. We want to hear. We want to get to know them. What's making them tick? What are the things that they have to say?
What do they fear?
Yeah. And I've had some, these kids in this world today, they come up with the funniest things, and sometimes I'm being taught what they are. Yeah. So because I'm listening to what they're talking about, and I'll ask, well, what does that mean? I've never heard that term. So believe me, these 13 and 16-year-old granddaughters are teaching me a few things. So that's because I'm aware and I'm listening.
Yep.
And then again, becoming that safe place for those conversations are important too. And I think I can't be shocked at the things that I hear them say. No. But I'll ask curious questions.
Yep.
So that they have that opportunity to stay connected to me.
Yeah, that's the one thing about Cathy and I as grandparents. We are open to whatever they have to say to us.
Yeah, we may not always like what they say.
But it's like Cathy said, as grandparents, we're there to guide them and help them through this part of their life. We can't be shocked by the things they tell us.
No.
Are we any better than them?
No.
Think about our life as teenagers and what we did.
Yeah, it's just on a different level. It's new stuff that we're not familiar with.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
So let's say you have adult grandchildren. Right. We're not quite there yet.
Not there yet.
But we need to know these things as we approach that. And so this is where we transition from authority to friendship.
Yes.
And it's kind of like what we've done with our own children. We went from authority to friendship. It's the same thing with your grandchildren.
Absolutely.
And we want to encourage their independence. Who doesn't want to be encouraged about their independence? Who wants to be, who doesn't want to have that, I'm taking on the world and here it is. And I have somebody that's supporting me in that process.
Yeah, we're gonna support them. We're gonna encourage them, and we're gonna, if appropriate, we'll give them suggestions on how to do things differently,
how to navigate it,
how to navigate that part of their life.
Yeah, right? But the biggest thing with adult grandchildren is making sure that we are continually showing them that we have interest in their lives.
Absolutely.
That we haven't just like, oh, you're adult, you're on your own. No, we want to show interest in their lives always. Yeah.
It's just like this. As grandparents, and I'm sure there's a lot out there, and not taken away from mom or dad, as grandparents, we want to make sure our grandchildren know that we are a safe landing.
Yeah.
If all else fails, I'm going to go to grandma and grandpa's house, and I can at least sit there and talk with them, and they'll sit with love and understanding.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Not that mom and dad can't do that, but sometimes they want to go somewhere else.
Yep, absolutely.
So remember this too. Relationships evolve.
Yeah.
The key is staying connected through every season, right? And we have definitely been involved in every season of our grandkids.
So far, we're still
right?
moving along.
Right, no matter what they do, bad, good, or indifferent.
And even
right?
the struggles. I mean, we've seen our grandchildren struggle,
Yes.
and we stay connected. Now, do they always stay connected with me or with us?
No,
Not always, but
no.
it's my responsibility to stay connected. Always doing a
Absolutely.
check-in. How are you doing, baby? How's school? How
Right.
how's this and how's that? Stay connected by opening communication.
I think that's one thing that we always do when we see the grandkids, whether it's on the phone, but especially when we see them. I know I do. I always ask, "Hey, how was school this week? Anything interesting happening?" Hey, they're grandkids. The younger ones, it was okay, Papa.
Yeah.
I mean, so okay, good, all right.
Or I got an A on my spelling test,
absolutely.
and there's that encouragement.
Yeah, and you get real excited about that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So this week, choose one intentional action, right? Call a grandchild. Pick up the phone. It could be as simple as this. Hey, grandson, I'm just thinking about you today. I want to tell you I love you.
Yeah.
It can be that simple,
Yeah.
right? Write a note or a text.
Yeah, I do that quite often.
Yeah. Cathy does that with all the kids quite often, right?
Mm-hmm.
Share a meaningful family story. Meaningful one.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes I'll share some of the fishing and hunting stories I had with my grandkids.
Yeah. With your grandparents.
My grandparents.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
So, it's fun to share those meaningful stories. It gives the kids some, oh wow, that must have been great.
Yeah.
It gets them excited too, right?
Yeah.
Start a new tradition with them.
Yeah.
Whatever you think that might be. And, with your grandchildren, make sure that it's okay with mom and dad before you go starting something new. Again, they're the ultimate authority, right? And we want to make sure we get their approval before we do anything dumb, right? Matter of fact, it was a while ago, Cathy and I were talking about going somewhere fishing for the day. And I said, well, let's take the grandkids, right? Let's take them up there with us, give mom and dad a break. So Cathy called a mom and says, hey, this is what we're thinking about doing next weekend. Do you mind if we take the kids? And she goes, let me talk to Garrett, our son, and I'll get back to you. Well, it ended up we didn't go, but that's the chain of communication we have, right?
Yeah.
This is what we like to do. I want to make sure it's okay with the two of you, right? And then if it is, then this is what we're going to do.
Yeah, exactly. And that is even like a lot of times the grandkids will want to have a sleepover in our house.
Yes.
Well, we need to talk to mom and dad, make sure there's nothing on the calendar, and we've got to get all the approval. So it's just, and we create those new traditions with them. This is going to just sound really off the wall, kind of crazy, but a tradition that we have with two of the grandkids that live here with us in Arizona is that they love to go out to sushi. And so that was something that our kids didn't even grow up with.
Right.
And so, they start out real simple, and now we've got one of them that wants to eat all the same rolls we do. So it's a family tradition to have that special time together for a sushi date.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we do family dates. We do a lot of family dates like that too. Yeah.
And then also you can pray specifically for each grandchild by name.
Yeah. Right? So good. That's really important.
Small moments often create the greatest impact.
Yeah. So, just a few things that we want to just leave you with here as we get ready to close is grandparenting. It isn't about being perfect. It's about being present.
Right. It's about being present in their lives. The memories you create today may become the stories your grandchildren tell for generations.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you for joining us on the Heal and Restore podcast. And if this episode encouraged you, please share it with another grandparent in your life, or maybe somebody's going to become a grandparent.
Yeah, absolutely. I think most of us have become grandparents. I had somebody tell me one day, the first grandchild, he told me, Randy, your life is going to change in ways you never thought imaginable for the better.
Yeah,
and it's like magic, and it does.
Yeah.
It really does. And remember, healing happens in relationships, and restoration begins with connection, positive connection.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep, definitely. So thank you again for joining us this week on the Heal and Restore podcast. If you or someone you know can benefit from our services here at Heal and Restore Counseling, we invite you to contact us at www.healandrestorecounseling.com and schedule your no-cost 1-hour discovery session. This is your opportunity to share the areas of your life that you're struggling with, as well as the goals you wish to achieve through the process. And just remember, too, we're here to walk out this journey of life with you.
Absolutely.
You don't have to do it alone.
Nope.
In most cases, we can't do it alone.
And
That's why that's been our experiences, is you can't do this alone.
You try doing it on yourself, and it just seems to always
circle back around. Yeah, so definitely.
So it's a different one today.
That's good.
It's just kind of,
really good to talk
a little
about.
reflective one instead of a teaching one.
Yeah, it was very good.
I guess it could be teaching.
It was teaching too. Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. So remember this, everybody. If nobody tells you they love you today, Randy does.
Cathy does.
But more importantly, God does. Be blessed, everybody. Have a fabulous week.
Have a great week.